Hello and welcome back to the Kiki MMA channel. Today, I will be doing making the most stereotypical UFC rankings possible. Like, for example, it's like when you think of ranking 14, who's the first guy that pops into your head? Not like who's the best 14 fighters, but who's the most 14th ranked fighter of all time. So that will so let's get right into it with number 15. Magny. Now, I did not know that Neil was more of a shortened version of his name, and Atil is his actual first name. But we go with it. And, Neil Magny embodies exactly what you want a 15th ranked fighter to be. He beats mostly cans and bums. He did beat Mike Malott, but we consider Mike Malott a bum on this channel. And he loses to anyone of note, and he has a lot of good opponents on his record. Like, he has lost the Gilbert Burns, Ian Gary, Michael Morales, Carlos Perates. He loses to Shavkat, Michael Chiesa. They're all in the same tier. Michael Chiesa is one of these guys. And if it was up to the UFC, if Dana White got to make his rankings, Michael Chiesa would be the champion. So, Michael Chiesa is basically the best fighter in the world, if we're really looking at it statistically and UFC wise. Yeah, Neil Magny embodies what a 15th ranked fighter is. He did beat the Jake Matthews, a really weird win, but he wins one, lose one, win two, lose one. This is what we want to see. Now, Neil Magny's never going to go close to challenging for a title. He's never going to beat anyone in the top 10 in the division. And in reality, you'll rarely see him beat anyone who goes on to be ranked future in their career. But he has one or two decent wins. Mike Malott, Jeff Neal, the GOAT, I guess Daniel Rodriguez, washed Aguilar. He has fought a lot of washed fighters. He fought Johnny Hendricks, beat Johnny Hendricks, beat Carlos Condit. Loki, if you look at it without any context, Neil Magny is like top 50 GOAT list all time, in theory, technically speaking. So, yeah. Let's go on with number 14, Drew DeHober. Now, Drew DeHober, from this photo here, you can see he has actually changed quite a lot looks-wise. He is maybe one of the biggest glow-ups in UFC history. He's like the opposite of Sean Strickland. He's one of the biggest glow-downs in UFC history. But Drew DeHober always felt like a guy who should be ranked 14th. I feel like he's always either ranked 14th or he loses to a good up-and-coming prospect, and they become ranked 14th. Like, he's always alternating between losing to guys who are pretty good and then beating a bunch of guys, get him right back up to 14th, and that's where he loses again. So, he has wins over a lot of people of a certain melanin content, and, that is interesting. But, a lot of good wins. Not a lot of good wins, but some good wins. Lost to a lot of good fighters. And if you beat Drew DeHober, it means you're going to go up a lot in the division for the most part, outside of like Brad Riddell. But, whatever. But yeah, Drew DeHober embodies 14th, very similar to 15th, but, with a little bit more pizzazz. Let's go on to number 13, Paul Craig. Now, Paul Craig had one of the weirdest title runs, like fake title runs of all time, when he won a bunch of fights in a row. And I don't know how long he's actually been ranked 13th for. I don't know if he was ever actually ranked 14th when he was a light heavyweight. When he dropped in the middleweight, it felt like he was more of a number 13. And then he lost to every human being on planet Earth. But, it's okay. Yeah, so Paul Craig, I feel like he was top 10. He was ranked number 8 when he went on his fake title run before he lost to Volkan. But, he's very 13th-esque, bunch of weird random wins, 2 wins over future champions, but losses to Modestas Bukauskas. Which should tell you all you need to know. So yeah, Paul Craig, good 13th ranked guy, gonna get a random, like, I guess kind of fraud check, though oftentimes if Paul Craig fraud checks you, it's actually a good thing. It's like reverse of Drew DeHober. If you beat Drew DeHober, it's a good thing. If you beat, and with like Paul Craig, if you lose to Paul Craig, it's actually good because you'll go on to be a champion. So yeah, let's go on with number 12. We got Brad Tavares at 12. This guy had not, again, these guys are gonna go on 4 out of 5, like lose 4 out of 5 to end their career. It's just what you do as a former number 12 ranked guy. And the one win was a decision against GM3, which if you're taking GM3 to a decision, you deserve to die. Or not die, but like go to the PFL, which actually, no, PFL is not bad. Go to MVP MMA. That might it'd be worse. And he shouldn't like he should go to MVP MMA and lose to someone actually good. Let's see. Yeah, Brad Tavares, weirdly, his second to last win was a decision over Chris Weidman post leg injury. Chris Weidman. So yeah, I don't know. But in his prime, very good number 12. Again, loses to good guys, beats bad guys. He's a little bit above this, where it's mostly to do with matchmaking more than anything, where they won't match him up with as many killers, so he'll be able to hold on to that 12 spot for a little longer. But lost to Yoel, lost to Whitaker, lost to Israel Adesanya, loses to these top level guys, but then he's not being matched up with them as much. That's why he's able to stay number 12. So he's not any better than any of the guys before him. He just gets better matchmaking. And I feel like he's at number 12 forever. So we got to keep on going. This video's going to be really long. So next up, the greatest UFC fighter of all time. If you know me, you know who it is. Jeff Neal is number 11, the greatest UFC fighter of all time. Not much more has to be said other than this is where we get into fighters who are actually good and actually have good wins. Like Jeff Neal, he has the Ian Gary win, of course, because he beat Ian Gary, the Vicente Luque win. These are guys who most likely, like Jeff Neal, were around 14 or 15, but had one really good win that jumped them really high up, like the Vicente Luque win, which got him, I think, as high as 8. And then they sort of stay in there and slowly fall down the rankings, hanging around number 11 for most part. And that's where Jeff Neal really fits in. I don't need to go over his career too much. You already heard me do that. But he's the greatest fighter of all time. He beat Ian Gary. He's going to come back. He's going on a title run. Don't out it. But let's keep on going with number 10. Tim Elliott has to be number 10. He's been number 10 in the flyweight division for about 82 years. He actually fought on a UFC 1. Do you know that? And he looked homeless back then, too. But Tim Elliott, we like him. Randomly fraud checks guys, stays in the rankings, wins just enough to stay at number 10. He will lose 2 in a row. You'd be like, oh no, he's fighting unranked. He can follow the rankings now. But no, he'll lock in. He'll win that fight. And he'll be right back up there. So much more to say about these guys. Let's keep on going. Number 9 is a man by the name of Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker, again, these guys are, I feel like I might have made this list a little bit too bad because, Johnny Walker's not that much better than the guys below him, but he's just in a worse division. That's why he's up at number 9. He still is in the position of he'll beat anyone who doesn't really have a future in the division. He'll lose people who do. He has some of the most hilarious knockouts in UFC history. I love how in this photo he's staring at the belt like Gene Silva did, but at least Gene Silva is going to be a champion one day. Johnny Walker will never touch the top 5. He'll never be close to being champion. He is truly a special individual. Not much more to say. Let's keep on going. Number 8 is Derek Brunson. Very unique build. And, he is a little bit different because he actually was at top of the division for a little bit. I believe he fought Jared Cannonier. I remember watching that fight. Yeah, he's a little bit different. It's interesting because he has lost to really good guys. He had that weird title run where he beat Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazian, Darren Till. And then he got the number 1 contendership fight against Jared Cannonier. Lost that. It's okay. An interesting guy. I feel like he was at number 8 before he weirdly locked in and then went on the title run. Lost to Cannonier, lost to DBP, and then left the UFC fight in the PFL. But before he went on this 4-5 fight win streak, he was sort of winning and losing fights, doing okay against all kind of competitions. He is the 1 win on Anderson Silva's wash downfall, so that's a little bit embarrassing. But other than that, really fits in number 8, middle of the division type guy. Has had highs, had lows, but really a number 8 kind of. Now, number 7 is a man by the name of Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker, very interesting guy. Interesting to see how he does against Parnassi. I think Parnassi is either going to destroy him or get weirdly fraud checked. It's going to be such a weird fight. When guys come to the UFC, I really have no idea what to expect. But Dan Hooker, Example, another guy could go on here would be Mateus Gamrot. Those fighting each other was like the battle for the best number seven ranked guy of all time. Mateus Gamrot won, but in true number seven fashion, they do rob people from time to time. I feel like to be a number seven kind of guy, you gotta rob the guy who you gotta ruin a few hype trains. You gotta stop hype trains, but at the same time keep hype trains going. You gotta be sort of the upper level fraud checker, like an upper level gatekeeper where it's you're not yet gatekeeping people for the title shot like Max Holloway used to do featherweight with Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen, but you're not gatekeeping them to rankings like Neil Magny. You're sort of in this weird in between place where you're sort of gatekeeping good fighters, like really good top tier fighters. So it's sort of a weird position. You'll rob people, close decisions. You'll get dominated occasionally, get some cool knockouts, have cool fights. You'll lose to anyone in top five, and you'll beat most people below them normally in close fights. Yeah, that's sort of who Dan Hooker is. Let's keep on. Next up, one of the channel goats, Arnold Allen. We love you, Arnold Allen. You're number six because I feel like he's been the number six in the weight division for the last like 5 years. Like I don't know, maybe it hasn't been that long. Maybe my concept of time is weird. But ever since he started coming up to the division, he's been number six. He's been permanently number six. Lost to Mobster, lost to Max, lost to Gene Silva, but he beats Melky Costa, doesn't drop any lower. He's a great number six guy. I hope he gets a title shot one day. I feel like could he like fight if he beats like Lalone or Aljo in his next fight? Could he get a title shot off that if Volk retires to get the vacant shot? I could see it. I would be rooting for Arnold Allen. I think Arnold Allen beats most of the division in 5 round fights. I feel like he has a distinctly weird like 5 round style. I know he lost to Max Holloway in one of his 5 round fights, but he did really well in that fight, given that he was fighting probably. I mean, I would consider that still a prime Max. So he really won. I think he won 2 rounds that fight. So we love Arnold Allen. Arnold's really good. 5 round fights suit him well. I think he can beat almost anyone in the position 48-47 outside of Volk. I think he could do it against Gene Silva. I don't know. I think he could do it against Gene Silva. Movzar rematch. I think he wins the Movzar rematch. I think he might have won the first fight too. I might have brought that up in my Arnold Allen video. Shameless plug. Go watch it. We love Arnold Allen. I think while he's sort of stuck where he loses to guys who will be future champions and beats everyone else, he's sort of stuck right now in that number six spot. But we have high hopes for his future. So Arnold Allen is our number six guy. Number five is another featherweight, Calvin Kattar. He's at number five more because like I feel like he was there for a while because he sort of had this weird rise, then had a really weird fall off. I feel like he sort of stalled at number five for a while. Like, he weirdly he had a very fast rise. Then he lost 2 fights, beat Chikadze. Fun fact: that was the second UFC fight I ever watched. If you can get the first bonus points. Yeah, he sort of stalled at number five, and he feels very number five-ish to me. It was like a weird time where he could be considered a future title contender, but like it was never that real. But he sort of stayed there for a bit. He sort of just a weird short time where he was like really good at the high level of the division, but he never really moved much higher. Now he's washed, he's fallen off, but he's a number five guy. Let's keep on. Number four is Cub Swanson. Now, Cub Swanson, this is where these guys truly embody the rankings that they're at. Like, Cub Swanson was literally embodies the ranking. He was number four for like a million years. Since he got to the UFC, he basically started out at number four and stayed at number four till he got old and started losing a lot. He is a perfect. I think if you look at the stats, he might be the fighter. The next fighter has an absurd stat I'll get to, but Cub Swanson, I think, has spent around like 2 years ranked number four, and that's on and off. He's moved down a little, moved up a little bit, but he's been consistently number four, number five, with number six, a little bit number three, but he's been the number four guy, been the like top idol, like gatekeeper. Like if you beat him, you probably get a title shot, and he's a truly special number four. A lot of fun fights. We like Cub Swanson. Congrats on retiring. Great number four fighter. Truly embodies what it means to be a championship gatekeeper. Now, number three is a little bit less on feel and more so on actual stats. Now, this is absurd because if you look at it outside of the person we have number one, the guy who's spent the most weeks at champion is John Jones, about 150-ish. Now, Rafael Assunção has spent 144 weeks ranked at three. That is the third highest amount of times at any ranking and the highest out of any non-champion. Because it goes champion, champion, a Sun Sao. Like, he has spent 3 years ranked at the number 3 position, moving up and down with that too. So it's not like it's not necessarily consecutive. It is truly impressive how you can stay number 3 and not move up or down really and like be at number like you have to consider this because like guys can move up like a little bit like to 5, like he can drop to 4 or move up to 2 with a win, but he would win or lose after that and drop right back down to 3. He was able to sort of be the same level of good. He like truly had a hard ceiling outside like not winning the championship, and he was a number 3 guy. Like, I don't know how hard it is to come in, but like he's been number 3 like for an absurd amount of time. Like, he's been number 3 for the same time John Jones was champion of the UFC. Think about that. Like, give or take a few weeks. That's crazy to think about. Like, how's it even possible? But we got to keep on going. Now, number 2 is Alexander Gustafsson. This is where we get to guys who did number 1 in the same way, who were never champion. Now, these guys did everything but being champion. I believe his resume is a little bit overrated, but Gustafsson came very close to being champion twice, split decision to Cormier, 2 fights against John Jones. One was a 48-47, and you would argue he did the most damage to John Jones. Like, he did not win that fight. Dominic Reyes beat John Jones, but Gustafsson did the most damage to him, which is not how fights are, like, not necessarily means you won the fight, but it's very impressive what he was able to do to John Jones in his prime. And he has been number 2. I think he started at number 2 when the rankings dropped, and he was there for a long time. Like, he bounced up to 1 a little bit, was at 3 for a little bit, but he was basically between 1 and 3, most time at 2, for his entire prime. That is very impressive. He never lost more than one or two fights in a row, never dropped that low, never won the belt, but very impressive performance. This is the kind of thing you want to see from a stereotypical number 2 guy. But let's get to number 1 and the champion. Number 1 is Tony Ferguson. This makes sense. He's truly might have the most craziest thing to never even get a real title shot. I mean, he won the interim belt, then lost it, but he never got an undisputed title shot. That's kind of absurd to think about. Truly very impressive guy. The number 1 contender of number 1 contenders. The most stereotypical number 1 contender is Tony Ferguson. There's not much more to be said. Let's get to the champion has to be Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson. Most weeks spent at champion by far. 209 weeks spent as champion, and those were consecutive. That's absurd to even think about. About slightly over 40 years as champion of the UFC. Should have never lost to Henry Cejudo. Very impressive. Has to be the champion in this video. He's like, I think of belts. I think the photo of Demetrius Johnson with his like 11 or so championship belts, which is absurd to even think about. He's the champion. That'll do it for today's ranking. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the Geeky MMA channel. Drop any video ideas down below. If you disagree or agree with me, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. That'll do it for today.